This is Rogier, and we're gonna do a walkthrough of the Red Road ceremony, August 12, 2023. This is a ceremony of two protocols combined, and you can do the ceremony as is, as often as you like, whenever you like, and of course also each individual protocol. However, for this combined event of the two protocols back to back, their stacks have been enhanced and modified, and so I would like to detail that for you. So this is first the original self-wheels protocol, and then the ceremony of self-appreciation. And this is what that will look like. I will be reading the qualities of the original protocol, which are the 144 self-wheel qualities for self-knowledge. Now, as I read the quality, the idea is that you feel the wheel move through you, but unlike the original protocol, it presupposes that you've internalized the quality ahead of time. In the original protocol, you kind of do that on the fly, but for a global ceremony like this, that wouldn't work because everyone's time required is going to be different, and either way it would take much too long. So the thinking here is that you internalize ahead so that legwork has been done already, and then when you hear me read the quality, it's a pretty effortless move through of the wheel since its quality has been internalized already. I will be reading the names of the qualities. I won't preface them every time with wheel of, which is how they're captioned in the PDF or printout of the 144 wheels. And when I speak the quality, the intent is that you feel the wheel from the stack that is slightly below your feet move through the body and then recombine above the head or the crown in a unified field. Then when you hear me say the closing incantation after the 144 wheels have been done, then there will be a 2-minute space or so, and then we'll start with the ceremony of self-appreciation as guided by the seer in 2017 in the webinar Becoming a Holy Master of the White Light. And this protocol will feature the same self-wheels as on the stack already below your feet, even though those wheels have the actual self-knowledge qualities as a caption. The wheels are the same, and it's about the magic in the wheels, in the sigils. The caption is trivial in this case, but the stack will be expanded, meaning additional components will be inserted below. And then you'll hear, and then the seer will guide us through the self-love qualities, and those should have been internalized ahead of time also. And a note on internalization, she recently recommended to internalize no more than 10 at a time. That's just at a time. You can do multiple internalizations per day, just do them in batches of no more than 10. And then presumably you'd at least take a bit of a break before going on to the next. We will start streaming music half hour before the event officially begins. Going into the ceremony, the starting stack should be ready, meaning the stack as it is for the original self-wheels protocol, which is the 144 self wheels, those pages, and it's always number 1 on top and the lowest at the bottom. So the last page would be at the bottom, the first page on top. On top of that, the power sigil for a rich inner infrastructure, and on top of that, the power sigil for the Red Road journey. When this first component for the utilizing the self-knowledge qualities has been completed, there will be like 1 to 2 minutes space. At that point, the stack is to be expanded with the additional components, which is first the power wheel for the 8th field of perception. Secondly, the equation for the activation of the higher function of the chakras, again, page 1 on top. And then the sigil of the angel god of no space, Belech Spravi. And then on top of that, the stack as it had already been formed from the first part, namely the 144 self wheels, the power sigil for rich inner infrastructure, and the Red Road journey power sigil. Okay, some notes and background to this event. First, the notes. So the power wheel for the 8th field of perception used to be the resurrection Merkaba, but that was replaced. One of the original downloads, however, still mentions the Merkaba, which is incorrect, but the wheel is correct. And so if you have that version, you can just get the updated version via the download link, or just edit the title on the page yourself. Also, the introduction to the self-appreciation ceremony has been preserved. The thing to keep in mind there is that obviously the additional power sigils are not mentioned for the stack. That part is just in there because the seer asked we just leave the introduction as is. So mentally, you can just add that in your mind when you hear that, although of course by the time you hear the self-appreciation introduction, the stack should be assembled already anyway. And secondly, this was at a time when our entry to the white light reality was still upcoming, whereas for the past years we've been in the stages beyond the white light and have now, with August 7, officially exited that back onto the Red Road. At least my understanding is that we're in different stages again with this Red Road, but either way, it is not the white light reality that was upcoming at the time of the original self-appreciation ceremony. But the way to think about this is, of course, besides, of course, keeping that in mind, is that the white light reality, like the stages of resurrection, it's still about developing functions that we carry with us forever. And the seer likened that to, let's say, learning writing in kindergarten or wherever. Even though you're obviously not in that grade anymore, you still carry that skill, that ability with you. And so is it with everything of the white light. Even when we're not there anymore, abilities were developed there that we carry with us. Now, in closing, it would be useful to go into some background of this event, namely how it originated. Yes, there is a crucial function of the self wheels in the Red Road, but the original intent for this, how it came about, was in the question of addressing government-engineered scenarios such as the digital blackout. And the main background on this then is the post of June 29, 2023 on originalones.org about preventing a government-engineered digital blackout. And the post of January 8th, 2022, titled The Next Great Depression. So that represents some of the background, that is, how to address this matter of government engineered situations, such as the scenario of the whole internet being taken down, at which point an alternate network would be activated that requires the graphene biochip 5G to access, and the totalitarian loss of freedom that comes with that. Now, government is in air quotes here because it's the human government, and that's kind of the point. It's not the sacred government that is the original ones, and so we ought to take caution in how we approach that mentally. For example, this is not how we, quote, prevent such a scenario from happening. What we are doing in a ceremony such as this is addressing, per the seer's instruction, the illusions that would manifest as such a scenario. And the illusion is the belief of being controlled by external circumstances. And so when we say, is this how we prevent, the very question already betrays a belief in those external circumstances. So this is why we take caution in approaching this. And it reminds me of something the seer once said, which is that the root of mind control is the belief in an external reality, meaning we become susceptible to our minds being controlled in whatever way when we believe there is a reality, quote, out there, and that is independent of us. And in that same vein, we're also sometimes asked, like, do you think this will really happen? And this is referring specifically to the seer's prophecies that remain unchanged so far, at least. That is, we are still on that trajectory, still on that timeline. And this is something she periodically checks, by the way. Refer to originalones.org/prophecy for the scenario I'm referring to here that includes the digital blackout. The point is, when we ask, do you really think this will happen? It presupposes that status quo of this situation in which we remain dependent on these external centralized systems and kind of keep our fingers crossed that nothing will go wrong. The fundamental message of the seer when she speaks of wholesomeness is not like rustic, idyllic living. It's about becoming independent from these systems and becoming self-sufficient, and stressing the importance of ensuring that you are systematically in your life moving the needle in going closer, edging closer towards this state of self-sufficiency. Like on a monthly basis, you can measure this, that progress has been made. And so the question of, do you really think it will happen, such a scenario, the more we voluntarily transition, embracing interdependence, which is the next state of evolution, that we trailblaze for humanity, the move to interdependence. That's the way to mitigate the potential of such scenarios happening. But crossing our fingers and hoping for the best, that is not the way. And that's how the intent for this ceremony originated. That the seer had said, we address such scenarios with the self wheels, and specifically the qualities of self-knowledge. And then we felt, well, let's then also do the self-love qualities, because self-knowledge precedes self-love. And then it turns out that that was fundamental, because we're not just doing this to address the potential of these scenarios within, we're also doing this ceremony as a function of and to support our now having officially embarked upon the Red Road journey of expansion, the outbreath of God